The prophet wells were chilling. They have used her. This is not ordinary. Skybo really mosquita. It is spiritual, and only grace can save her. Tears swimming down Stella's face. Her mother and aunt stood beside her, helpless and confused. They could only watch as the strong, intelligent girl they had raised was reduced to a shadow of herself. This should have been the happiest day of her life, the day she married Sterley. Instead, it was a nightmare she could not escape. The plan had been simple. They would hold the traditional wedding, and after Stella completed her exams, they would marry legally and travel abroad to start a new life. But now, her past had destroyed everything. In the city, Sterley wrestled with the disaster that had unraveled their future. It felt like he was trapped in a Nollywood movie, unable to wake from the nightmare. His father, the man he had always respected, had torn their lives apart. The truth was more horrifying than anything he could have imagined. Sterley's mother had died when he was young, and his father never remarried. Instead, he lived a life concealed in secrecy. For years, he had preyed on his students, luring them into dangerous affairs. What no one knew was that these relationships were part of a sinister ritual, one that granted him power and longevity. Every 2 years, his father would seduce a new student, and after sleeping with her, he would perform a twisted ceremony using a white handkerchief. Within 4 months, the girl would die mysteriously. It was a cycle of sacrifice that kept him in power, a secret buried deep beneath layers of deception. One victim, a devout Christian named Bowade, had escaped. Despite the threat, he held onto her faith and resisted his demands. Though she suffered, she graduated with pass and built a successful career. But the others, those who fell into his web, were not as fortunate. Their depths were hidden behind lies. No one suspected the truth. Now, Stella had unknowingly become his latest victim. She had no idea of the dark forces looming over her. Unbeknown to her, she had less than a month to live. Sterley was tormented by the weight of the truth his father revealed, unaware it was a lie. His father claimed that Stella had used her body to pass exams, forbidding their wedding. As a result, heartbroken, Sterley cut all ties with Stella. Though his heart ached for her, the pain of their broken engagement lingered. In Stella's village, the reactions were mixed. Some pitied her while others secretly rejoiced in her misfortune. As the first woman from their village to attend university, Stella's success had made her a target of envy. To them, her downfall was proof that no one could escape fate. Stella sat weakly in their backyard as she wept over the mistake she could have afforded as a Christian. The weight of guilt pressed heavily on her heart, and though her mother called softly from inside, Stella could not bring herself to answer. She knew the truth would break her mother's heart, so she kept it buried, letting silence shield the shame she carried. No one knew the dark secrets that had destroyed Stella's life. Stella could not bring herself to tell her mother what had happened. She had kept the truth hidden, afraid to disappoint her mother, who had always immersed her in the Word of God. She lied, telling her mother that Stanley's father didn't want him to marry a poor girl like her. It was a lie that weighed heavily on Stella's heart, but it was the only way she could keep her mother from learning the painful truth. A week after the wedding was cut off, Stella prepared for an important exam. Her mother encouraged her to focus on the future, praying over her constantly. But the past clung to Stella like a dark cloud. Her strength faded, and as she prepared to leave for the city, she collapsed. Her mother found her unconscious, bleeding and speechless, rushed her to the hospital. Stella underwent several tests, but the doctors found no explanation for her illness. The next morning, her uncle called a prophet, a close friend. The prophet's words were chilling. They have used her. This is not ordinary. Skybo really mosquita. It is spiritual, and only grace can save her. Stella's mother cried out, falling to her knee. Jesus, help her. Hearing those words, Stella felt the truth strike her like a blade. She had 2 weeks left to live. The cause that had taken the life of others now pursued her. She had lost Stanley, her future, and soon her life. That night, Stella screamed in her sleep. She had visions of ghosts. Meanwhile, Stanley fought his own battles. His nights were sleepless, filled with questions he dared not ask. His father's words echoed in his mind. She is a bad girl. She used her body to pass exams. Stanley believed his father. One day, unable to sleep, Stanley roamed the house. Passing by a dark room, he heard low whispers, his father's voice chanting words he did not understand. His pulse quickened. Curiosity overpowered him, and he opened the door. The sight left him breathless. His father knelt in the center of the room, symbols drawn on the floor around him, a white handkerchief fluttering between his fingers, the same one Stella had described during her brief affair with him. Stanley froze in the doorway, his world shattering. Stanley saw his father and shouted at him. He was angry and confused. His father was forced to tell him the truth. He said, "Does not die, I will." He had done something terrible. He exchanged Stella's life for his own. Stanley pretended not to care, but deep inside, he was broken. Later, his father told him the secret to save Stella's life. As Stanley entered his room, he saw a message from Stella. "I am seriously sick. I might not make it, but please know I am truly sorry, and I still love you. I want to tell you everything, but I have no strength left." Tears filled Stanley's eyes. He rushed to his car and drove straight to Stella's village to perform the ritual that could save her, even though he knew his father might die. But on the way, Stanley had a terrible accident. He fell into a coma for 1 week. Meanwhile, Stella's sickness got worse. Her mother was so worried that she collapsed and died from fear and thinking too much. But God showed mercy. After many prayers, Stella became well. At that same time, Stanley's father died. His life was taken in exchange for Stella's life. When Stella recovered fully, she was told that her mother had died. She cried so much, her heart broken. Stella blamed herself. She could not forgive herself for the price her mother paid. In the hospital, Sterley woke up. The doctor told him his father died while he was in a coma. He was sad, but he did not waste time. He rushed to find Stella. He brought her to his mansion. He gave her a car, one of his houses, and an international passport. Stella remembered her mother's prayer, "My daughter's helper will find her." She also remembered her promise to take care of her mother while life got better, but now her mother was gone. Sterley knelt down and said, "Please marry me. Let's start again." But Stella could not answer. Too much had happened. Her heart was full of pain and memories. Now, she needs your advice. Should Stella say yes to Sterley and give love a second chance, or walk away forever?